but I feel like another lady in a black dress. So I feel like everyone is wearing black dress. So I need to give you the context for this story because my stories are usually long, and I pick a few paragraphs to read. So I'm bringing this intercultural perspective tonight. I'm going to read about how it feels like to grow up in Southeastern Europe, where everyone thinks they have a recipe for your life and they know best what to do with your life. So I'm going to skip a few paragraphs. Knowing my relatives well, I was not surprised when Miss San, months following our lunch together and more than a year after my breakup with Z, welcomed me into her apartment with the story of a man who was, in her most honest opinion, a genuine marriage material. At that time, I still felt heartbroken and nowhere near ready for a new romance. I was also working long hours in the newsroom while simultaneously trying to navigate preparations to move abroad for a new career opportunity. The last thing I wanted was to start a new friendship, relationship, or any other type of ship that I could not invest myself in. With her deepest concern that I might end up solo in my 60s, as she did after 2 failed marriages and 1 bad fiancé, Miss Anne had no desire to bother with my immigration excitement. She only wanted to talk about this new neighbor of hers who she felt would be a perfect fit for me. Yuri took me to see a physical therapist yesterday. He is such a wonderful and hard-working man. Miss Anne started what turned out to be a very hard-to-interrupt monologue about my future husband. I nodded my head and let her continue talking. His family is very nice too. Yuri's mother is an exceptional cook and his father works around the clock to provide for her and Yuri's younger sister who is just about to graduate from college. I detected where the conversation was going, so I tried to change the subject politely. I'm glad you have such a nice new neighbor, I said, and then pointed my finger at the vase on the table. Is this the vase your friend brought you from Spain? It is so pretty. Do you know how many souvenirs I bought on my trips across Europe and America? Now I just need to pick a few favorites to bring with me when I move. She had no interest in the topic I brought up. Yes, that is the one from Spain, Miss Anne answered briefly and continued her story. Did I tell you how strong Yuri is? He is so strong that he can lift a tractor with his bare hands. This is true story, by the way. I looked at her in disbelief that she thought her statement was a good selling point to be directed my way. Miss Anne interpreted my nonverbal gesture as Mira must be shockingly impressed. So she added a few details to reassure me she was telling the truth. Yes, Marco saw Yuri when he lifted a tractor. It is true. Yuri is one strong farmer. I realized that I needed to make her stop talking about this guy I had no interest in. Miss Anne, I'm sure that Yuri is a nice guy. I just feel like I need more time to heal from my previous relationship. Oh, no, of course, I understand, she interrupted me. But I'm just sure that you're going to like Yuri. He's so strong. Miss Anne was persistent. It was almost impossible to explain to her that I had no desire or energy to meet any guy at that point. The only thing I was able to focus on simultaneously at that time were my journalism work and making plans for building a new life overseas. Miss Anne, however, did not find any of the two relevant. She only thought I needed another man. Mira, I was thinking perhaps I could invite Yuri for lunch. What do you think? There really is no need for that. Miss Anne pretended as if she did not hear me and then proceeded to the kitchen to check on the ground beef casserole she was baking for lunch. Afterward, she returned, sat next to me, and started talking. You're young, and I understand that you might not be aware how much you need someone. A good man would take care of you, and you would not need to work that much. But I love the work that I do. I'm not looking for someone who would keep me away from the newsroom and my colleagues. Suddenly, she narrowed her eyes, looking angry and irritated. It has always been about journalism, and that comes at such high price. Think about marriage instead of wasting time at convention and parliamentary sessions. Not every government needs to be formed in your You're right, it doesn't, but it's more fun when I'm around. You know, at the age of 10, I wasn't really dreaming of walking to the altar in a white dress when I turned 30. I was dreaming of traveling the world and interviewing rock stars. And now you're interviewing politicians. She responded in a sarcastic tone of voice. Well, whether we like it or not, they are the rock stars of our times. And speaking of traveling the world, I tried to change the subject again, but she did not want to talk about my immigration plans as she did not want me to leave. She wanted me to stay in the country and marry her neighbor. All right, I see your point. You can still work, that is fine. But what if something bad happens to you? Who is going to take care of you when you're all on your own? Miss Sam was persistent, even if she needed to make me portray myself lying exhausted in bed, fighting flu symptoms, not able to move, and having no one to bring me a cup of tea or chicken soup. Then I said what I thought would place her in a checkmate position, hoping that she would stop making me constantly defend my life choices. What if something happens to him? I asked. Then it will be the other way around, right? She did not get a chance to react to what I said as someone buzzed at the door. Oh, I wonder who that is. Let me check. She went to the door, looked through the peephole, and shouted enthusiastically, "It is Yuri." What a coincidence. We were just talking about him, and there he is at the door. Miss San opened the door and let the man in. Evidently, she set up this trap as she was convinced that Yuri was the man I needed. I rolled my eyes without them seeing it and prepared to meet the I can lift a tractor guy.